Alright, so earlier this month, we got the next trailer for Halo Infinite at Microsoft's E3 2019's press conference briefing. We got a lot of information about the future of Halo in that trailer that I don't think everybody might have picked up on watching it the first time or even the second or third time through. What I want to do today is break this trailer down and talk about why this trailer matters so much for Halo and talk about the two messages I think 343 is sending Halo fans everywhere about their intentions for Halo Infinite and Halo in the future after Infinite. Folks, it is my express desire to bring you joy in all of the content that I create. I'm the Coltrane, and this is my breakdown of E3's 2019 Halo Infinite trailer and why this matters so much for Halo. Alright, so I use the phrase trailer breakdown pretty loosely. This isn't going to be the standard let's pause every single picture and frame in a trailer and look at all the little clues and every little piece of detailed information in that frame to try to deduce what this means for Halo going forward, what it means for the game, what it means for gameplay, not like that. Instead, I want us to look at the messages that 343 communicated to the player base about what they perceive Halo being and what they want it to be in Infinite and going forward. And I said there were two categories. The first is the characters and the emotional tones and the narrative that they told us in the trailer. And number two, the sense of grandeur and awe that was very much just palpable and tangible in the trailer based on what we see. So let's talk about point number one, the characters and the emotional tones that is communicated to us in the trailer and the narratives that they tell. There's really only two characters in this trailer, the Pelican pilot, Echo 216, and the Master Chief. Yes, we see the Pelican pilot's wife and we hear his child in the background of the hologram. We're not going to talk about them specifically as characters, but just who we actually see. So the Pelican pilot, he wakes up in this stupor alarm and he just kind of takes us through this entire just sense of human emotions that any regular human being would feel in his predicament. And 343 really crafted a narrative here. He wakes up startled, unsure of what's going on, the alarm's going off, he realizes he's in peril, scrambles to the back of the Pelican, has to put a toolbox on the seats to reach up into the ceiling to get whatever it is that's going wrong. He struggles, he reaches up there, he fixes it, then he falls down onto the floor, either knocks himself out or something, and just has this utter sense of like desperation the entire time. And then once he comes to after hitting the ground, after fixing whatever happened in the ceiling, and he starts to watch this holograph of his wife speaking to his daughter, man, does 343 come up and just smack you right in the feels. I mean, you don't even have to be a parent to just feel the weightiness that this guy is currently in his circumstance. Totally just depressing, utter rock bottom, and just such a tangible sense of hopelessness that 343 communicated. I mean, we see the time lapse, we see, obviously he's been watching this hologram over and over again because we see the battery counter go from green light to yellow light to red light. He has a beard, has long hair, he's been stranded for a while, he is utterly at the complete wit's end, and he just has utter despair and just discouragement. And that, I mean, even I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, holy crap, that was so heavy, and it still is even when you think about it. But then 343 continues to take us on this roller coaster of emotion because you hear in the Pelican's cockpit the computer voice saying that they've detected a friendly, and you kind of see just this guy go from utter despair to a sense of impossible hope. And he gets up and he scampers into the Pelican cockpit, gets on the radio, you can hear the desperation in his voice, and then when he wipes away the condensation, he sees Master Chief floating out there. Of course, then he pulls him into the Pelican, and you see him kind of have a bit of a pep in his step as he's checking out his suit, and then when he goes to try to give power to the suit, he has like this moment of like, please, please, please work. You know, he kind of prays for a minute. And then of course, once he gets the power to the Chief's suit, he has utter jubilation. He throws his hands in the air, he yells and hoops and hollers, talks about going home, just totally goes from the pits just moments before to utter jubilation, even if it's sort of irrational, because who knows if he's actually going to get home. But the point is, we traveled with this guy on a sense of emotions, crazy roller coaster that told a narrative. I mean, we learned a lot about him. We know he's a Pelican pilot, he's a family man, he clearly has been lost in space for a while. We get some intangible things that allow us to kind of paint a picture of his own life, but we don't know him that well, and so it created in us the sense and desire to want to know more about him. I mean, if you go to any forum, Twitter feed, anywhere where this trailer is being talked about, you see the whole community wants to get this guy safe. They want to get him back to his family if they're still alive. Let's hope they are. But we started to care about him. And why? Because of the narrative and the emotional tones that 343 caused us to experience with him. 343 communicated to us that we care about our characters as a company. We want you as the player to love our characters, and we already really love and adore this guy. So that is, I think, the first clear message that 343 really wanted to communicate to us, is that our characters are going to matter, and we have some strong narratives we want to tell. Now let's talk about point number 2, the sense of awe and grandeur of Halo. Now we get this towards the end of the trailer, particularly when the Master Chief walks into the Pelican cockpit and looks up at the destroyed or damaged Halo ring. You see, just as the vista kind of pans out and you see the ring, the damaged portion, the depth of space, and that strong, powerful music plays, you get such a sense of a desire to explore. You feel the intrigue, you feel just the mystery that Halo brings, and it's kind of breathtaking, and the scale feels huge. I think this is what Halos 1 through 3 really nailed and what made Halo so endearing. I mean, think about the first time you played Halo Combat Evolved and saw the Halo ring. Think about the first time you fired up Halo 2 and you saw High Charity as it kind of surrounded the debris of Installation 04. Or think about Halo 3 when you saw the portal at Void open up to the Ark, or you saw the first vista of the Ark. You had just this sense of giant scale, intrigue, and mystery that you wanted to go see. And I think that scene of the Master Chief walking into the Pelican's cockpit and looking up the Halo totally captured that. I think also when the Chief was walking into the control room of what we're assuming is the Halo, and walking towards whatever thing is in the middle as he pulls the AI chip out of his helmet, that also kind of evoked a sense of what is happening, what's going on. And I think Halos 4 and 5 never quite nailed that in the same sense of just grandeur and awe that Halos 1, 2, and 3 did. So why does this matter? Why does character-driven narrative and why does the sense of grandeur and awe that only Halo can bring matter to the future of Halo and Halo Infinite and beyond? I think 343 is essentially telling us that, hey, we understand what made Halos 1, 2, and 3 great, at least from a narrative standpoint, the sense of awe and grandeur, but we also understand that maybe they never totally nailed the character-driven narrative that I think a lot of gamers really love in games when it's executed well. 343 wants to take that, I think, and they want to take their already dive into character narratives that they started in Halos 4 and 5, which frankly were pretty good. I mean, Halo 4 is a just beauty of a narrative-driven storytelling experience, and Halo 5 started some really good trends with some new characters that were interesting and at the very least gave some just meat to the story that was being told. Even if you didn't love the way the story was told, at least there were people to experience it with. And I think 343 is saying, we're going to take those narrative-driven character-style stories and we're going to take the grand sense of awe and wonder from Halos 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to marry these together, and that's what we're going to give you. And I think this is really what Halo needs going forward into this next generation and in the coming years to truly be something special like it was in the Halos 1, 2, and 3 era. Games, movies, TV shows, regardless of the medium, are better when narratives are told with really interesting characters, and that narrative has some really interesting awe-inspiring pieces to it, and I think that is what we're going to get with Halo Infinite. Well, these are the two messages I think 343 is trying to communicate to us as Halo fans about the trajectory they want to put Halo on as an IP. But I'm really curious to know what you think. In the comments below, let me know if you agree with me or if you disagree, and why not. What do you think 343 was trying to tell us in the trailer of Halo Infinite? If you liked this video, well, a like and a subscription help me immensely. I would love to also invite you to come hang out with me on stream. I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday by 9 p.m. Eastern. I would also love to invite you to come interact with me on Twitter. Both those links are below, and I'm always hanging out on social media, tweeting about games, just life in general, and I'd love to come interact with you, chat with you, as we just get excited for things like Halo Infinite. But regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you choose joy in your life today. And I hope you take that joy, and I hope you go give it to the next person that you interact with, and so by spreading joy everywhere you go. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video.